Hello, my name is Craig Johnson and this is your BBC World News Analysis, where we give you vital insight into world-changing situations. Our main story is the earthquake that has hit Japan today. An earthquake of a magnitude of 9.0 on the Richter scale hit southern of Japan in the Tohoku region at 2:46 p.m. And now, let's go straight to our correspondent who is there for us now. Hello, Mike Phillips, you are in the main disaster area. What is the situation like on the ground?
Hello, Craig. Yes, we are in one of the areas where the power of the earthquake has really left its mark. The situation is really quite severe, but in itself, the earthquake didn't do that much damage. We must remember that Japan is used to a certain amount of seismic activity, therefore the buildings are built to withstand them. However, this powerful earthquake brought about a tsunami which had disastrous effect on the region. It ravaged homes and people lives.
This large earthquake was followed by quite a few smaller aftershocks, isn't it?
Yes, that was the case. Numerous smaller earthquakes were recorded after the initial large one. We are talking about 56 earthquakes with a magnitude of over 6 on the Richter scale, so they were quite fierce.
Let's go back to the destruction caused by the earthquake and more importantly the tsunami. What state is the country left in?
As I said earlier, this disaster has really damaged the country and its people. It's hard to say precisely at this time how many people have lost their life, but the authorities estimate the number to be around 16,000, with a further 6,100 severely injured. But the number of dead could rise as there are thousands of people reported missing. At this stage, it's impossible to evaluate the severity of the material damage, but we can see on this video that everything is destroyed.
And we are just getting some images of the tsunami now, Mike. It is really quite shocking.
Yes, you can see on the images the power of that 38-meter tsunami. When it hit land, it took everything on its path with it. Aerial pictures are showing entire buildings displaced. Even boats had washed inland.
Some fears have been raised about the state of some of the nuclear power stations in the region, especially the Fukushima reactors.
Yes, like most buildings in Japan, the nuclear power stations are built to withstand an earthquake. However, the risk of a tsunami was not taken into account. The Japanese government has not given an official statement on the actual state of the Fukushima reactors. But one official did tell us that the situation there was desperate.
Has anything been said about a possible meltdown of the reactors?
Some unofficial sources have compared the situation to Chernobyl. This would make it a Class 7 nuclear accident, basically meaning that the situation is a major nuclear disaster. What we can say through is that an evacuation effort of the area is now underway, with people being moved out the perimeter that could be contaminated.
And what are the potential environmental consequences then?
Well, it's really quite hard for scientists to evaluate the impact at such an early stage. If the reactors are not cooled, then we could be looking at similar consequences as Chernobyl. However, since that Soviet-era disaster, a lot has been learned in terms of managing this kind of problems. So, no one will expect major nuclear fallout. But we could be looking at some serious ecological damage. If the level of radiation goes over a certain level in the immediate surroundings, the land could be unusable. But as the reactors are close to the ocean, there is a very high risk of radioactive particles finding their way into the sea, which will have a major ecological impact.
And now let's have a look at the science of all of this with our BBC science expert Jonathan Sexton. Hello Jonathan.
Good afternoon, Craig.
This was a very powerful earthquake, wasn't it, Jonathan?
Well, Craig, for a tsunami to form like it did unfortunately in Japan, the epicenter of the earthquake needs to be under the water. Because a tsunami is created once a large amount of water is displaced. This happens for relatively powerful earthquake, usually over 6.3 of the magnitude on the Richter scale, and when a tectonic plate suddenly drops or rises along a focus. It's quite important to know that a wave with a height of only a few centimeters at the epicenter can become a wave of a few meters when it hits the coast.
And how does this tsunami link into the problems at Fukushima then?
Where a nuclear power station stocks radioactive material which needs to be continuously kept at a very low temperature. The tsunami seems to have caused a major power cut in the plant which has stopped the cooling system. The water in the cooling system evaporates, which exposes the combustible and released radiation.
We shall have to keep a close eye on this extreme situation then. Thank you, Jonathan.
We certainly will. Thank you, Craig.
That was Jonathan Sexton, our science correspondent. You are now up to date with the dramatic incident that has unfolded in Japan today. You can follow this story as it unfolds on our website bbc.co.uk news. Or you can keep up to date on the BBC World News channel with the Holy Report. That was Mark Johnson on your daily BBC World News analysis, and from me and the rest of the studio, goodbye.